A huge gang of violent African teenagers has run wild along the St Kilda foreshore.
A large number of youth attend of African appearance who have engaged in antisocial behaviour.
Money! Money! Money!
They make demands, sometimes they belittle them, and then they get what they want and go.
A brute stomps on a person's head.
Police haven't made any arrests and they haven't laid any charges.
It is absolutely unacceptable and will not be tolerated.
All Islamic schools, are homes for teaching extremism. It is important for us that we promote and encourage Islam.
In a minute, you f***ing little chief.
Now we are in danger of being swamped by Muslims.
You line up a number of Muslims. Who's the good one?
Greetings, citizens of Australia. We are anonymous. Illegal Muslim immigration. African gangs. Are you ready to be culturally enriched? European countries such as Germany, France, Sweden, Italy, Greece, the United Kingdom, and many more are suffering under waves of violent illegal immigration. These people are not refugees at all. They are invaders. For all you stupid people out there, who are in full denial of this fact, get your brainwashed brains out of the sand, and stop watching the fake news media on your televisions. You will never see the real news footage that is all over the internet on your TV. The lying fascist fake news media is never honest, despite the fact that they are only following orders. Your new unelected Prime Minister Scott Morrison has opened the floodgates for mass illegal immigration into Australia. Yes, you heard us correctly. It's time to arm yourselves, and get ready. Terrorists are on their way now in masses. It's bad enough that the Australian government has actually been flying them in via aircraft on a daily basis in secret for the last decade. Let's look at what the Australian culture now has. African gangs, Muslims trying to impose their own laws over our own. Regressive leftist politicians using their insane politically correct culture to enable all of this. The thing about political correctness is, it enables gang and rape culture, and it enables extreme gang violence, which is what we are seeing now on Australian streets, by doing nothing to stop it. These illegal immigrants are perpetrators of the following: genocide, paedophilia, child marriages, torture, persecution, rape gangs, incest, ethnic cleansing, crucifixion, stoning, beheading, dismembering, and that's just the beginning. You cannot import third world scum and expect them to behave themselves, and live alongside people that they have been raised to hate since they were born. And to add to that, their culture comes with them as an extra bonus, for your suffering, courtesy of the global ruling elite. Even Antifa are working with both Muslim terrorists in mosques, which was exposed by Tommy Robinson, and they are also helping the African gangs wherever they can, so long as they aren't seen actually doing it. Your aggressive leftist politicians have chosen barbaric Islamic law over the Constitution, and over the will of you, the Australian people. These corrupt politicians know exactly what they are doing. They are following orders of the globalist ruling cabal, which includes but is not limited to the Rothschild family, the Chase family, the Rockefellers, the Bilderberg Group, Saudi Arabian royalty, the British monarchy, the likes of George Soros, and the orders are being filtered down through the United Nations. Every single problem that the world currently has, can be traced back to these people, eventually. Just follow the money. These people incite their servants to use terms like conspiracy theory, to debunk information such as this. The best response to that is the truth, which is, if it's a conspiracy theory, then why is Agenda 21/30 being played out before our very eyes? But, as an Australian you're thinking, she'll be right mate. Guess again. Your police force aren't arresting the violent gangsters, and whatever presence they have on the streets wherever these African gang members are, is spent running away from them. This is not out of fear. The police as well as all branches of law enforcement are acting under orders to do this. Police are being ordered not to engage, do not arrest. Police are too busy spending their resources on raising revenue, because after all, the fat cats in politics need their money, direct from your pockets, by any means necessary. If the police were actually doing their jobs properly, then those in power would be in prison. Australia has soaring energy prices for electricity, petroleum and gas. Australian consumers pay amongst the highest rates in the world. Then there's the military. They will step in, won't they? Sorry, but no they won't, unless it's against you, the Australian, and under orders from those in Parliament. The Australian military leadership went off and joined the LGBTQP Fairy Brigade, and the ones who didn't aren't in any position to call any shots. So who does that leave? Security guards? Outlaw bikies? Sorry, but again, not a chance. The security industry in Australia is 95% Muslim-owned, and bikie clubs were outlawed exactly for this scenario, because there is no way those kind of people would take any of this at all. If Australia's politicians were doing their jobs and actually doing the right thing, then they would never have any need to pass laws which further erode your liberties and freedoms. Voting these crooked, criminally insane political people out of power is also not going to happen. They have rigged the system, which is why only one of the big two parties wins an election. The Labour and Liberal parties in Australia are one and the same, and have the same goals. And on that subject, we have Pauline Hanson's One Nation Party. Pauline Hanson herself is worth over $15 million. She was also handed this sum of money by Malcolm Turnbull for the cashless welfare card system. One Nation has not actually done a single thing for the Australian people. All Pauline Hanson is good for is to sound controversial to the people, pull a stunt or two, and that's all. Pauline Hanson and her One Nation Party are controlled opposition. People can deny this fact all they want, it's the ultimate truth. Did you really think that a government this corrupt would allow One Nation to actually do anything for the good of Australia or the Australian people, or accomplish anything that wasn't in their own self-interests or the interests of the global elite? Australia is in a civil war. Those in power are playing African gangs, Islam, Antifa, and the regressive left against Australia itself, as well as you, the citizen. Those in power have simply been lying to you about it. How many times must you see them on the evening news telling you that gangs don't exist? That the latest Muslim terrorism atrocity was a lone wolf scenario, despite the footage already being leaked on the internet proving otherwise? You are being lied to. You are being conned. It's time to remove the wall that they have placed over your eyes, and it's time to open your eyes. You need to arm yourselves with whatever you can, and get ready to defend yourselves. The floodgates are opened, and the illegal mass migration calling themselves refugees is coming, and coming now. They will be men of fighting age, with very few women and children, if there are any women and children amongst them at all, just like what Europe has experienced. The only people who can do anything about this is you, the Australian citizen. Anonymous has been keeping an eye on social media, and an interesting method for sacking the government has been floating around. This method describes striking all politicians' names out on all ballot papers at election time, and writing in text, "No suitable candidate to follow my will." This is the correct method to sack the government. Under Australia's highest laws, if enough people did this, then the government must be replaced. However, there are two problems. The first is, the corrupt government has control of who counts the votes, and the second is that they will simply not acknowledge these votes exist, in exactly the same way that a magistrate's court in Australia will insult you and ignore you if you use Australia's highest laws to defend yourself in court if you are ever unfortunate enough to be summoned to one. Politicians, police, the courts, all break Australia's highest laws on a daily basis. The law they follow is based on Gough Whitlam's revised Constitution of Australia, which happened around 1972. The problem there is, that revised constitution is illegal, because changes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia 1901 can never be made without referendum. A referendum to do this was tried, and the people voted against it. The Australian magistrates' courts and politicians know it. They created an entity known as the Queen of Australia and registered the Parliament of Australia, as a business, in Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. This allowed them to privatise sectors of government, and beginning the selling off of Australia's assets and resources. How bad are things in that respect? Everything you own, use or even eat, is imported from overseas. There will be more information to come. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.